there were so many guys died in the 90s that, or I should say 80s and stuff, because of drugs and, they're taking too many muscle relaxers and their heart stopping, that there was a dead pool on the internet. Who was the next one to die? And it was always Jake or Scott, Jake or Scott, Jake or Scott.
I've learned a lot over the 4 decades of health and fitness and being in the trenches with the greatest in the world. And one of those things I've learned a lot more about and how to build better muscle is nutrition and how it has changed over the decades. And that's why I have the Titan meal plan for you guys out there that are confused about nutrition. I'm gonna set you straight. Get a hold of me today. The link will be in the comments down below for you guys. Everybody, get over to the Titan meal plan, and I'll see you in the Titan crew where I will fine tune any difficulties that you're having. We know millionaires that are unhappy. And then we know people that are broke, living in a 1-bedroom apartment, seem like the happiest people in the world.
Yeah.
Right.
Happiness is such a wealth that people just keep forgetting about. And like, you're stress-free, you're happy.
Right.
Those are the biggest riches. It's not the guy that has $10 million or $20 million, unless he's enjoying it like the guy that can live in the 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just seems we've learned so much through this time.
Kevin Nash said something that was really powerful to me about, I guess it was WrestleMania, or no, it was the Rumble. And I don't do many autograph signings anymore because I don't want to do them, just because I'd rather spend time with her. And
He doesn't want to leave the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he said to me, I just got off the phone with my wife, and I told her, I'm making stupid money we'll never spend. I'm like, wow, that's a heavy line. But it's so true. Like,
Yes.
no, I don't do anything unless I want to do it.
It's time.
It's time. Time is our most valuable. You guys are much younger than I am, but it's coming. It's coming. And if you watch, and I know you love both of these guys as much or more than I do, which is Sly and Arnold. They are just now finding. I've heard Sly on different interviews. Like it's like all of a sudden in the last few years he's realized that I'm at the end of this time right now, and I don't know how long, much longer it's going to last. So you could see this things he's doing with his family. Like there's no way Sly would have ever done a reality show years ago.
Right.
But he's so natural in it now, and he's getting to be with his daughters and have that really awesome quality time. That guy he's never known it, but he's been a mentor of mine forever, because I look back at where, when he didn't take the money for the
didn't
Rocky
cave
script.
in.
Yeah.
He should have. And 99.99% of the people on the planet would have caved in and, taken the money because they needed, because he wasn't living in a room this big, And
to watch that and hear that, and then also realize it's true. Everybody would have took the money. Hey, you're not right for the role. Well, it's my script. It's mine. If I'm going to do it, this is it. Living in his car.
Yeah,
and I know he's a dog person. And he had to give up his dog because he couldn't feed his
That's
dog.
right.
So he had to give his dog up even. He had no money to feed. And it's like, it breaks my heart. But you can see it broke his heart. And he says, I'm going to make it. So we just finished one movie. And turned out great. I am loving it. I love the dailies that we see. On to the next project. You finish, you keep going, you keep trying to go. That's, I guess, a better way to say it. And this next movie that I have booked, this is going to take all of me. This is going to take slice to the bone, all the character development, but also I need to be able to move and grow and keep that strength through this process. You'll understand why that is after you see the movie. But keeping the strength is key when you're dieting. And so I'm going to show you how to do that on Power-Bodybuilding. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you over there.
That belief in yourself, that belief. I was inducting Jake into the Hall of Fame in 2014.
Jake the Snake.
I got to digress. You have to understand, Jake and Scott Hall. There were so many guys died in the 90s that, or I should say 80s and stuff, because of drugs and they're taking too many muscle relaxers and their heart stopping, that there was a dead pool on the internet. Who was the next one to die? And it was always Jake or Scott, Jake or Scott, Jake or Scott. So when I started working with Jake, and only because he was ready and he didn't want to be that guy anymore, he, on one night, X-Pac, Sean Waltman, DMs me on Twitter, which I never read. For some reason, I was on it and I just caught it. I was like, oh, X-Pac. And he writes, Scott is in a bad place. I saw what you're doing with Jake. Will you please try to get a hold of him? He said he's got a gun. He's going to kill himself. I've called him 10 to maybe 15 times prior to leaving WCW and WWE to now in that spot. At least 10 or 15 times. Never call me back. That never answers his phone. That day he answered the phone. And he's annihilated. Oh, Dally, hey, yeah. Yeah, and I'm drinking vodka. I'm drinking vodka for breakfast. And he goes, I heard what you did with Jake, man. That's really amazing. I go, Jake's right here, bro. And we're filming. We filmed everything back then, because Jake's in the house, and he's like, yeah, John, Scott, he goes, I heard you got 60 days, bro. He's like, yeah, I'm 60 days sober, bro. He goes, man, that's and you could see him going from really desolate time as he kept going. He got positive towards the end of it, and he said, I said, you can come here, bro. It doesn't have to be like that. I got another room. He goes, I'll sleep on the floor, and I know we got another room. We're waiting for you, bro. So I literally hang up the little phone with him. And Jake and I are in the kitchen. They're still, they had stopped filming, which I was, sometimes, the magic happens when they stop filming. Right. And I'm going to get something out of the refrigerator, and I turn around, Jake's there. And I said, Jake, can you imagine if you and Scott Hall get sober in the same year, in the same house, and as only Jake can say it? He's like, oh, I'm going to go get your crown of thorns ready right now. It was just so classic. I burst out laughing. And then, of course, the cameras aren't going down, I've realized, that probably about I was 63 when I'm going through the divorce. Second divorce. And now talking to Paige. Everybody's out of the house, but we're not talking. We're just getting to know each other. And I started thinking to myself, how many great years do you think you have left? 20? You lie to yourself and say 20. And that would make me 83. How many 83-year-old cats rolling around, like, living life? To me, there's a God, there's all of that. But to me, we're energy. And I don't believe in the whole streams paved with gold. I don't believe any of that. Just my own opinion. I believe in positive energy, though. And positive energy will find positive energy. And negative energy is not. I don't want to be anywhere. At this point in my life, I don't want anything to do with it. If I have to,
we don't have to be.
We don't have to be. Yeah. Chaos. Don't want it in my life. Yeah. Don't want it. I want to. Breathing, and like that's another thing I want to talk about tomorrow. That when I'm talking to, the people, is so many people. Not tomorrow, but Thursday. We all know breathe. Woman having a baby, breathe. Someone getting in a car accident, and they're so wound up, breathe. But who really works at that? You work out in the gym, eat the right food. Who really works at breathing? And so I want to know why. Why does this help? And then as I'm reading, I realize that, the only difference between excitement and fear is whether you're breathing or not.
Interesting.
So,
wow.
Yeah, right?
Because fear,
you don't breathe.
Yeah.
You forget.
Excitement, you're...
Yeah.
Every single time you start to feel anxiety, this is I've done on myself for I guess a little over a year, really studying it. When I start to feel anxiety, I literally turn a camera on myself and I go, "You're not breathing." Starting to get pissed off. So before I was lucky enough to go out and get my Hall of Fame ring, this ring right here, I was breathing in and out for 3, and then I went to 5, and then I went to 10, and then I went to 20. And 20 just really 10 puts you right on that path. Inside this Hall of Fame ring, it says work ethic equals dreams, exclamation point, DDP. When you're deep breathing, you are activating the hypothalamus, which is connected to the pituitary gland in your brain, which helps to relieve stress and anxiety due to the physiological effect it has on our nervous system. Then I'll have them. Take that deep breath. When you're deep breathing, you personally are sending neurohormones to inhibit the stress-producing hormones, which triggers a relaxation response in the body.
It's that time again to get my blood work done to see where my numbers are. Again, the one big thing for me is I'm keeping track of it. It's so precise. You know, I competed in bodybuilding and powerlifting and martial arts, but that was all over decades ago. And so how can I continue to keep this physique and be this strong at this stage? And so that is by optimizing my health with Titan Medical. It all stems from one thing: your blood work, what's going on inside of you. And that's the main thing that I'm focused about, is see how I can continue to not just be in the game. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be a weekend warrior. I don't want to say you got a dad bod. I want to be the pinnacle of the health and fitness industry decades after I competed. And I've always said this too. You got so many of these guys that were with me in the 80s and 90s, and they keep putting the pictures up from the 80s and 90s. I don't want to be that guy. I like the fact that I can still put up pictures of me today, even though I won the universe back in the 90s. That's the goal for me. I don't know what your goal is, but I can tell you this. I know you want to live, and I know you want to live your best life. And that starts with blood work. Over at Titan Medical, start today.
Nobody really works at that. I do.
Well, and yogis, like when I trained in Thailand in 2008, I got into yoga to start my journey. It's before I met him, and that was huge. And not just the flexibility and the strength and everything yoga brings to you, but like the breathing was so key with a lot of the, especially climbing higher elevations. And then I always say for me, you know, it's saved my life on a few situations. But the year before we got back together, I was trimming a tree. So I broke my back twice. This is the second time in 6 places. So what happened was I was trimming a tree for a friend.
She's 15 feet in the air.
Yeah, and I grew up with 5 older brothers. My dad taught auto shop, so I'm used to like doing stuff myself.
Okay,
It's like, oh, it'll just
great.
take me a minute.
Good, I got some trees and...
No, I won't do it anymore. But so I'm up in this tree, and I knew better, like, because usually you always have someone with you with a guideline pulling the branch of trimming. But I was like, it'll take me a minute. It's a small branch. And so I jump up, climb up the, ladder, get on this tree. I'm straddling this branch with a chainsaw cutting, and the thing kicked back, hit me in the chest, threw me off. I throw the chainsaw, and I wound up landing flat on my back on this hard, rocky ground. Nobody's around. And so
You broke your arm.
I shattered my left leg, my left arm. Broke my back in 4 places. But I knew I was injured really badly, but I didn't know how bad. And so I was like, oh my God. But through the breathing, I'm like, you gotta save yourself. Like, you can't just lay here. You don't know if you have internal bleeding or whatever. But so anyway, but it was through the breathing that I was able to.
I know some people that work on that actually, that do classes on breathing, because I get messages say, hey, you should work on this, and we're doing a lot of classes on just breathing. Not
Yeah,
the
with
mouth.
stress, but with pain, you know.
So what happened at the end of this? I want to hear that. I want to hear the end of this.
So I managed to roll over and get on all threes because my left arm's just a mess. And then I crawl over to the chainsaw and turn it off because now I'm, all about safety, So, and then I get to the ladder, I pull myself up,
crawled over.
and like a zombie, I'm like dragging myself into the house because my phone I left in the house. So I went into this house and called, and I was like, I need help. I'm hurt bad. And so they managed to take me to the hospital. And the first hospital, they had to take me to a regional one. They had to take me to a bigger one. Actually, it was Pensacola, and in Florida. And but ironically, everything happens for a reason. So they do all the scans. They're like, by the way, you broke this, this, and this. Oh, do you know about this avocado-sized tumor by your left ovary? And I'm like, what? And I had literally had my annual the week before, and the doctor missed it. And so I was like, no. So, so it was just that I never would have known about it. And so there I am, like a couple weeks later with, a body brace on, a clamshell brace on. They put titanium in my left leg and arm. So I have casts on. I'm with a walker going into this new, gynecologist office. And they're like, orthopedics is down the hall. And I'm like, no, this is the one. So I wound up having surgery and get a hysterectomy and everything. But, you just never know. So, but it made me stronger.
There's so many factors in this conversation. Things happen for a reason or time. Mm-hmm. The time you guys met, stepped away, came back, and you got to finish something that I thought was, wow, so badass for your mom. I've lost both parents, and so I know what that's like to be an adult orphan. And to be able to do something like that they wanted to do is truly amazing.
Yeah.
And then my mother was a piano teacher because she was raising 10 kids. So she did a lot of odd jobs from babysitting all the kids in the neighborhood to where she was. And I look back and I thought, hey, I'm pretty cool. I got in the newspaper as a young All-American football player and wrestler and stuff. And it's like, I didn't realize as a young kid, my parents were already in the newspapers for the cool things they did. And I was like, looking back at that after they both passed, and I'm still a pup, and I'm like, geez Louise, they set me up to win in life. And just looking at what you guys did with time and realizing time is so important, and the breathing and the relaxation and the way that you and I live with the less stress because of how we financially do our money.
Right.
It's so many similarities that are so cool, but I go back to the ovary or the cyst that they found, tumor, and it's like, if that didn't happen, they wouldn't have discovered, and who knows what would happen.
Right.
And I have so many friends that injure themselves, and it's like, oh shit, this sucks. Then they go in, hey buddy, you got a lump in your lung, and it's like, he would never have known. It's like, the world is a wild ass place. Yeah. And it sucks that we don't realize a lot of these beautiful things when we're young teenagers. But that common quote, I guess they would say, is, what do they say? Time is wasted on the young, and wisdom is for the old.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're really trying to live now. And like you said about Stallone, he's really doing his life probably at his best, and Arnold's probably at his best right now.
Yeah, Arnold too.
Besides the movies, everything they've done, how can you say this is the best? Because they're actually living now.